join us, and the last time we were in a car like this, we were going to go pick up a bumper that was absolutely mashed up. So we can't disappoint on this trip for what we're going to pick up today. So join us along for the journey and the install of what we're going to go get. So we're now at a location. Lex, tell us, where are we? Where are we right now?
What, the area or the place we're at?
No, the place we're at.
Starbucks.
So Lex wanted Starbucks, so Lex gets Starbucks. But essentially, we just picked up these seats. We didn't realise it was from a MX5 braking / part specialty place called The Units. So I'll just show you guys there. Honestly, some sound guys there. Just picked up, you would have never guessed, it's some bucket seats. It's some Sparco Sprints, the same as Lex's. We need some bucket seats. In my car at the moment, it feels like a track car. The only thing that doesn't feel track about it is the fact that when you're driving at high speeds and going around corners sideways, you're not very locked into your seat, are you?
No, not at all.
So we'll show you these more when we get back to our place, but we ended up chatting essentially for about 2 hours. Yeah, we were there for a long time. So now we're gonna get you some Starbies and then head the road back home and hopefully get to install these.
Okay.
Bucket seats.
Bucket seats.
It may have seen some better days.
I think someone's copied me with my bucket seats.
No. These may have seen better days, but I can sew them back together.
Yeah, that's not so bad. Like, that will sew back together. Like, yeah. We can carpet clean it when it's on the car, but they come with the rails and a free seatbelt thing.
Yeah, free seatbelt.
Free seatbelt thing.
So yeah, I've gotta see if these adaptation plates will fit. They're quite cool on the sides that they've got like a lot of play.
I think they will actually, yeah, because they have got quite a lot of play, whereas mine bolted into these ones here. So possibly, but this is a passenger one, so you won't be able to slide it back and forth. Yeah. So first off, I've just taken this one here off. Well, I'm going to take this bolt here and this bolt here, and then we're going to work on the back, but not without some WD first. And these are a 14mm, so fingers crossed they come off okay. Maybe by magic, or maybe these have been out before, these have actually both come loose pretty easily. Or it's just the power of my nice snap-on ratchet, you never know. So Lex, how do you feel? Because all of my bolts are coming off really nicely. Mine nearly snapped, all of them, every single one. Especially this one here, which is just like a little nut, so. I'm happy. Now that the rears are removed, we just need to do the fronts, and then we should be able to take the seat out. Yep. Nice and easy. I was super hopeful that they'll bolt straight in, but there's only one way to find out. So let's really awkwardly lift this out. I'm going to pop the headrest down. I was going to say, take it off, I think? Yeah, take it off. So there we go. And hopefully the seat comes out okay. Oh, it's sort of trying to fold on me. You're caught. Hold on. Come back in. Yeah, there you go, you're fine. That wasn't horrible. No? No. That's not so bad. Okay, new seat incoming. That has actually been the driver's seat because the seatbelt thing is on the wrong side. Which is interesting. Okay, let's have a look. It will not bolt straight on because no, it won't. Well, A, we would need to take the seat off of this. I don't know. Yeah, you have to take the seat off of this. B, it doesn't fold around in the front enough. The front we could bend. The front would come round. Yeah. So what's it not matching up with on this? Well, the holes. So mine matches there. No, mine doesn't. Yeah, but you can wiggle it. No. It would need to come like that to match. So we need some sort of extension or something. Yeah. So this is the other seat, which is already on a sliding rail.
So we're just going to see how that one matches up. That's such a pain to get in.
The other one wasn't too bad. It's because of this sliding rail system. So
Yeah, way too short.
that lines up on my side.
Mine's a couple inches out. Look.
Inches out.
Yeah, look.
Oh wow, yeah.
Yeah.
How come these are the same as yours and then they don't fit in here?
Because I've adapted mine to be
Right.
on the MR2 rails, because they bolt straight into the MR2 rails without any further modification, whereas these are not. You can see the holes that they haven't used, but that's exactly where the MR2 ones bolt, so it was just pretty much bolt in type situation. Okay, we're going for take 2 because we think we're going to put some spacers on this. So
that is matched on my side, which with these brackets bent down.
also, how would you get these bolts in under here is my concern as well, because they are very, very tight. You would not be able to get a ratchet in there.
No, so we'd have to bolt the brackets down and then put the seat in.
Yeah, I guess.
So we'd have to bolt the brackets, yeah, and then ratchet the
but
thing
if they were at the back there,
I mean, that's not too far.
it's not too far out. It doesn't need much to go. But again, this is far out. But if you bent that down, would it get into that hole? Do you know what I mean?
This side would, but your side wouldn't.
Well, yeah, because we need the spacer. But with the spacer,
Because we need a spacer, yeah.
yeah, we could do that. I reckon that one will be okay.
With a spacer, I think both of these will bend down, yeah.
Easy, yeah. Oh, Chris is testing out the unbolted seat.
Yeah, I mean, anyone would be comfortable in that.
Okay.
And then it leaves enough room for my lights to shine up the back as well.
Yeah.
And I could probably still get small luggage down the back. Not really.
Not really though.
So it negates space, but like that's comfortable enough for like anybody.
Okay.
If I can fit in it, fucking anyone can fit in it. I say that and then
You're
someone
like the
won't fit in
skinniest
it.
person in the world.
No. What we decided is we're going to take the sliding rails just the same as in Lex's video and swap them from the old MR2 onto these seats because we know they fit. So instead of making adaptation brackets, and then we can sell other adaptation brackets. Sorry, there's a car.
There's a woman trying to reverse.
Oh my god, hang on. So yeah, we're going to take the seat rails and sliders from the MR2 and bolt them / retrofit them onto these seats, which we've already done with Lexus. We're going to start with the passenger seat first and then move to the driver's seat because, well, I need to drive this car tomorrow. So if we mess up, I still need that seat. So we're going to be taking these brackets off, cleaning them up and probably selling them. So I think this might be an MX-5 brand, it might be a Universal brand, I'm not sure. If you're interested, yeah. So once again, they're in decent enough condition, a couple of scratches. Probably be selling those, you'll see them soon. Just taken off some of the bolts for the seats. I'm just going to keep everything out the way so that that woman doesn't come back and try to get in a space too small for her. And then I think we have to pull this section off. We've got some screws to do.
That was not tight.
I'm not surprised, to be honest, because a lot of this is just absolutely naff. I also then have to take apart these brackets somehow, which we didn't think about doing, so that's going to be fun, but we're not doing the driver's side now, so just ignore that and focus on this one. This is extremely on there, but you have to just prise it. It is moving, believe it or not, very slowly up. Gosh, Toyota didn't plan on these coming off, did they? Sorry, that made me jump a bit there. There we go. Nice and easy.
Okay, so now
That was definitely not
think
staged.
This pops off. There's like a little pop in there.
Little pop?
A little pop.
Sounds like a bad rapper. Little pop. Little pop?
Yeah.
Oh, it feels like it's going to be a big pop, not a little pop. So yeah, there was like a little clip thing?
Little clip thing?
I don't know. It was kind of just
I'm not
like
sure.
hooked. So we're going to keep these bolts because we need these side panels because they're going to go on the side of the seats to make just a clean look.
rather than having bolts and rails everywhere. Now I know we're all about weight reduction, we're all about tracking this car. However, we still want it to look nice at the end of the day. So let's keep that going. Wow, Lex, you did it.
Yay. Oh my god, look at me go. Let's loosen them all off. I think there's one on your side. Get this one off.
Oh.
What?
That was just straight up not on.
Sick.
Like, that was so loose.
Sick.
Which makes me think, these seats were quite wobbly when they were in. So, don't know if that has anything to do with it, but it's kind of worrying.
Right, there we go.
Sucks that their jippos are doing that.
So now's the fun bit, because there's actually bolts all up in here. I believe there is 2 12mm up in here.
Yeah.
Which are a pain to get to, because you have to like ram your hand up in there, and there's this like weird sticky foam in there.
We also need to take off like all of this.
Mine actually still has that on.
Sick.
But it's because of this, we took this spring off, remember, really dodgily.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was kind of scary.
We thought we had to take it off, but I don't think we do. I mean, at the end of the day, all of this is going to be
It'll just
well, we're going to
cut off.
basically grind these points down, take all these brackets off,
Yeah.
and essentially just leave what's necessary for the seat. So cut a line across so we don't have anything coming excess over or above.
So on mine, we took both of these springs off, but I don't know if you want to mess around with springs today.
I fancy
Do you feel
my
like
life.
dying today?
Yeah, let's not do.
So this bolt is pretty easy to get to. There is just like some black sticky foam in there, and then there's another one around here, I want to say, which isn't so. Oh, did you just throw that at me?
Not intentionally.
Excuse me?
I now just have a really small snap on ratchet.
Excuse me. That wasn't kind.
I think my makeshift bits are not working as I wish for them to.
Just before we commit to chopping anything, we are going to take this side off, and this side's pretty easy to get off. It's 12mm there.
We're just chucking ratchets
We're just
everywhere.
chucking them everywhere. But yeah, this side's pretty simple to get off. And we no longer, well, you can use that bit if you want, but I don't think I have that bit.
We don't need it, no.
Oh, actually, no, you might do for the sliding to hold it. No?
We don't need it.
I think mine's attached, so I think I put mine on just to make sure it was extra stable.
So the bottom section is now off and over there. We're just now debating if we want to struggle to get our hands up through the seat, or if we just want to cut that metal bracket with a grinder. I'm kind of voting metal bracket grinder because I remember how much of a pain Lex's was to do, and that bit has to come off anyway, so it's...
Yeah, I think grinder, and then we just take the springs off now. You go grind it quick, and then it'll be good to go.
Scary. If anyone knows about dealing with springs, or you'll know how dodgy they can be to remove under tension. Did you hear? So now essentially we're going to take the grinder and we're going to cut pretty much dead across here, so the top bracket and the bottom bracket. The rest of the junk I can then take off when it's apart into 2 pieces. I might have to then grind down some of the surfaces a bit more, but for now this should be fine. So the top of the bracket's cut off. It's not the nicest job, so I kind of do want to neaten it down a bit, but not really the priority at the moment. I might at least get these little spot bits off, because I kind of want that top piece to not be there. I mean, it's all going to be covered by a cover anyway. I'll get the cover and have a look, to be fair. Now with that tip ground off, I should just be able to just lightly place this. I might have to go, no, that's good. So essentially I just didn't want to be able to see that or the top bit, but that's looking great. So I'm going to prime it under anything I've cut just so that it doesn't rust, and then go from there. So the primer is put on any of the places that we've cut so that it doesn't rust. I will be cleaning this up in the future, but as we're on a tight deadline, this will do for now. Oh, and yeah, ignore the splatter card. That's just to stop the sparks from going everywhere. Whilst we let that dry, and ignoring all the car parts in here, how's it going, Lex? the drill's not liking it.
The drill is like sparking.
That's great. But all we're doing is we're burrowing this hole slightly bigger so that it lines up, because it's ever so slightly out. But besides that, that's pretty much the only minor modifications you have to do to get the seat to fit. Also going to be for sale, I have some really nice quality no tear cushions. There's some slight damaging in some areas at the bottoms, but the actual main bolster looks really good, and they are also still very padded, so they'll also be up for sale.
So this bolt is all in now that we bored the hole out for. This one is sitting nicely in here, and then we have just put this 12mm also back on to hold the seatbelt on. You can still move the seatbelt up and down, but this bit remains stationary.
So then now, sorry, these are all in. We should just be able to take this paneling and one of our trusty Toyota screwdrivers, and then the paneling should, and this is what hopefully we're going to do the same with yours, I think, Lex, aren't we? Because it fits. Hang on. It did it a second ago. It popped on so nicely. You have to like slide it or something. So then this little screw comes in as a retainer and essentially just hides, and there's a little bit poking out, but hides most of that gubbing. To be fair, that bolt just does sit loose anyway, but it just looks so clean, doesn't it?
Yeah.
In the last few clips you would have seen, we were upstairs in the flat, fitting the rails onto the seats. The first seat is now in. It went in pretty easy. One thing to mention is that the holes on each side, when they're attached to the bucket itself, you do have to pull slightly, but I mean ever so slightly, to get the bolts in nicely. But like, the seat is nice and solid and it looks so good. However, what doesn't look good is these tears and rips. So I've just been to the store down the road and got myself some sewing needles. So essentially I'm going to sew up these, well, torn areas, and then in the next, well, few clips you'll see, I'm going to get this driver's seat in, because at the minute we're still running the standard. I just need to wait for the tools, because stupidly I left them in the Accord, which Lex has taken, so we're in a bit of a trouble. But for now, let's get these seats all repaired. Now, don't get me wrong, I am no professional, and all I'm doing is just making it look nicer. I'm not going to fully reupholster the section. I'm not good enough for that. I've done minor reupholstering before in the past, but nothing to, you know, do a whole entire section of the seat. So all I'm doing is little patches, which I'm completely fine with, because at the minute this is no comp car. These seats are out of date anyway, so all I'm doing it for is my own personal. So I've just got some blacky blue kind of thread, which would hopefully match similarly, and then different size needles. I did have some before, but I just needed some thicker sizes because I keep needing them. I did, or I was fortunate, I guess you could say, to in school have done, well, sewing tech as a class, or we all had to mandatory, so some of my skills should hopefully come in handy for this, but be aware, it's not going to be the prettiest job. So as you can see, I'm just starting off with small amounts of thread and a small section, making sure that every time I do a pass, I'm pulling the material taut to come back up through. And I've already locked off a section, you can see here, with this little empty bit of thread. This will cut off afterwards, but we're going to use it to lock back the whole thing later on. As I said, I'm not a professional, but from what I got taught from my family and what I got taught in class, normally my sewing tends to hold up. And as you can see, it's not perfectly seamless, but that's not what I'm looking for. All I'm looking for is to tighten this, reinforce it and get it nice. This side is going to be the trickier one, if any. And then, to be honest, the bits that are coming away on the back, I don't think they'll get seen. So I'm only really focusing on the big areas at the front, and then I can reinforce anything else later on. But no, I'm happy with how this is going so far. Each bit I'm sewing feels nice and tight, and I'm making sure to lock in, but just try not to use too much material, because we don't want a big clob that's going to really show up, snag or catch. We want something seamless, tight, that's not going to come apart again. And from a distance you can't really tell, and up close we have some nice and tight stitches. Everything feels tight as I'm pulling, nothing's got too much movement, so this should hopefully at least last the season, if not longer. I was tempted to do some patching or something along those lines, but to be fair, this feels solid and actually doesn't look as noticeable as I thought. So let's move on to some of the other areas. So this side, not too worried about that small hole, not too worried about this small hole, but definitely this big one, and then moving on to the other seat. Now I highly recommend, if this starts happening to you and you have the time, the quicker you get a small stitch like this in, the more it will save, because every time you're getting in and out of the car, anytime you're moving around, it's just going to get worse. It's going to tear more, it's going to pull more sections, and then you will actually have to have an entire area replaced. So for now, let's get this nice and taut. Hopefully we haven't lost too much material, or too much material hasn't been pulled away. We got very lucky on this side being so smooth. So the trickier side, let's see. I think I've honed my skills in a bit more back to where I used to be. So let's get going. Essentially, I'm using a mixture of cross stitches, under stitches, and reinforcement stitches throughout, without bulking it out too much. Now, as you can see, not perfect, however, doing the best with what I have. It's a strong, nice, tight stitch, I guess you could say. So I'm happy with it. It looks a lot less noticeable from far away, but again, it doesn't have to be perfect in this style of car. But I'm super happy with how it's turned out compared to the condition I got them in. So I'll show you the other ones. Again, we need to get the brackets on the other ones, but let's get that progress on the roll. I also found a little tear down here, so I ended up altering that. To be honest, with how easy it was, I might actually decide to tackle this one up here and this one down here, but I'll only do that if I have some spare time, because right now it's a big crunch for Isle of Wight, just as it is every year. So let's get those bits sorted first. Now, when trying to get the second seat rail off, there is a bit of a problem, and that is that these hex screws here, there's no way you can get anything in. And yes, I have tried putting a little bit in there and using a spanner, but essentially what I think they've done is that they've welded this section after the fact. So they've put the seat on and then welded afterwards. I mean, how ridiculous. Or there's signs that they've just taken a pair of pliers and tried to just twist these to get them tight, which is not going to fly. So I think I'm going to have to get the grinder to grind all these welds off, which is an absolute pain, but it's worth it because this is one of the cleaner of the two seats. Time to get the grinder to it. I'm having to chop piece by piece because this is not coming off correctly. After chopping and bending, I should be able to fit this Allen in, and hopefully they're not seized. But yeah, I had to take quite a lot off to do so, and that's not including I'm gonna have to do this on every single corner and each in different ways, because the brackets they've welded to are so solid. So I'll give it to them. Safe, yes, but place in hell. And for those of you questioning, oh no, they'll come off easy, the bolts wouldn't have even cleared. So now I'm gonna have to chop these bolts off just to get them in, which is ridiculous. Now, to be honest, I think that was one of the easier sides, so this is gonna be fun. So again, having to cut a massive section out just to be able to get small amounts of access and not damaging the seat in this process is very difficult. I got this little guard I use for welding sometimes, but by gosh, is this giving up a fight. So the last bolt was pretty much on hand tight, but it's all sorted now, so I'm super happy it's off. Let's get on to sewing the seat.
Caffeine, arriving today with Amazon Prime.
And this is the progress on the seat. So from a distance you genuinely cannot tell, but small patch there, there was a small patch just under the O there. There's a small patch down there. I know these are dirty, I'm going to sort that, and a patch at the back on both sides. I'm super happy with how it's turned out. Now all we need to do is get the other seat taken apart, do the same steps, and then get this all mounted up.
Now that's all sorted, let's get the other side in.
So to remove the seat, you have to lift this up and use a flathead very carefully to get this piece out. If you break this piece, it's a struggle and this will just wobble around everywhere. Then you've got a Phillips head just down in this hole over here that you'll see. So I'm just going to get my Toyota screwdriver in there and then should be able to undo that. Again, being very careful and slow. You have to remove this so that you get to this bolt, and then I've just popped the cap off for the other side to do the same. We're not going to fully remove them, but we'll loosen them first, then slide the seat forward and then go from there. Now, just like the other side, I've kept the bolts in the orientation because that's how they're going to go back into their threaded holes the same. Without doing that, essentially, you might have problems with threading them back in, and you don't want to be cross-threading seat bolts. It's one of the worst things you can do because tapping and dyeing bigger holes afterwards is a bit of a sketchy one. So I'm now going to take the seat upstairs. We're going to get to dismantling and then hopefully get it nice and quickly onto the bucket seat. However, I have a feeling it's going to be a bit of a pain. Now the seat's inside, let's start dismantling once again. So there's always an easy side, which is that one, and there's always a difficult one. And I have a feeling that this side is much more difficult than the one before because you've got more articulation in your movement of ups and downs in the bottom of the chair. So there's a lot more gubbins that I'm gonna have to take out. But same process of pulling this handle off, taking this knob off. I don't think I have to touch anything, the top and bottom for the lean, but I definitely need to take the seatbelt side off. So let's start on the easy one and move to the hard. I completely forgot that when you're taking this piece off, there's a little circlip inside that needs to pop off first before you can then pry it off. It's a bit of a pain to get to, so I recommend having pick tools. However, I don't have any, so jabbing with a screwdriver it is then. This is that really frustrating clip I was on about. I just use some pliers. It essentially just sits to lock in like a retaining or a cotter pin. I'm going to be keeping it with the seat bits just in case anybody wants to buy the spares after. Pulling off these handles is always a pain, but I always find easiest is to lever off of this point. You can see kind of a few scratches from it, but it's going to happen. The plaster dip's going to come off. But levering against and just pushing really hard up against, it'll bend a little bit, but it'll pop out. Now to dismantling this top piece, which is the easy bit. This bottom bracket, which again, semi-easy. It's the next section that is a lot tougher, but we're just going to grind it off because I don't need these seats. I just need a portion of them for what I'm using them for. And I won't bore you with getting it on, but damn, that looks clean. And I'm just going to take all the tools down and then we're going to mount this back in the car and then hopefully take it on a little journey. And now, as you can see, smooth as butter, it slides back and forth. So I'm just going to put this plastic cover in, but to be honest, that's probably the end of the video. I do still have work to do with these. There are a couple of areas more that I want to sew back together just to get them nicer, and obviously they're in good old need of a clean. But besides that, they're in. I'm happy that they're going to be here for Isle of Wight. All we need to do now is finish the bumper, as you would have seen in the previous video. If you want more updates, go check out our social medias, and yeah, hopefully you enjoyed.